In this video, I'm going to talk about, should you trademark your business name before forming your LLC or entity? Specifically, I'm going to talk about whether you do the trademark before or after. And even more important, is the LLC even the right vehicle for you? So specifically today, I'm going to talk about four things. I'm going to talk about should you or not trademark your business name and or the products. What entity should you use? Everybody always says LLC. Is that really the right vehicle? I'm going to talk about the number one mistake, and the unknowns that no one ever tells you about. And then I'm going to wrap it up with four very specific things that you can do without hiring a lawyer. How about that? Now, why is this so critical? I love business. I've been doing business, really my first little lawn mowing business at 13 years old. Then I had personal training and aerobics at 17. Like life-defining change at 24. I have owned and ran hundreds of businesses, done over 1,000 real estate transactions. Before Shark Tank gave us a name, that's what I did. All right, I bought, sold businesses, real estate, flipped them, love doing this stuff. So when trademarks are a part of it, there are certain places in business where it just makes sense to trademark, to get your patents, to get your service marks. And then there are places where it makes no sense. So let's talk about some of those pros and cons. So first, I just want to handle the big question is, do you trademark your business name or get an entity first? So I'm going to say always, always, always. The minute you're 18, you should have an entity. If your intent is to get rich, have a business, be an entrepreneur, you need to run it through a corporate structure. Now, whether that's an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, limited partnership, those are names, by the way, in the United States. I know there's people watching from all over the world. I have a huge international following. It's the same principle, different names. In Australia, it's proprietary limited. Other countries are limited proprietary. It's a numbered company, it's a corporation, it's partner. So the difference is your company's going to make the money versus you as the individual. So yes, you start with your entity, because if you go out and trademark your name as an individual, now you as the individual own the name. Or worse, I've had clients before they met me go patent a product in their own name. So you say, well, should I have the trademarks in my own personal name and the patents in my own name? No, because you don't have any asset protection as an individual. So let's just say later and down the road, you might get sued, right, for whatever business thing you're doing. Now, if it comes through to you, which typically, if you've never been sued before, it's you and the company that will get sued. So now you own the greatest asset called your patent or your trademark or your service mark. So no, you do not do that. You protect it with the corporate structure. So your entity always comes first. Your company then will own the trademark, the service mark, the patent, whatever you're doing. It also, just to expand on that, it's going to own your computers, your car, your phone. Like it's going to own a lot. Your company needs to own it. So you always start that first. As far as what entity to do it in, now let's get to the next big conversation in this. What are you going to do with it? All right. Are you going to sell the company? Are you going to take the company public? Not necessarily an LLC is the right vehicle for that. So again, we have experts on our team at Integrated Wealth Systems for you to evaluate what is the best entity based on your goals. Because I can tell you it's a very different structure between going private or going public. That's a big one. And if you're going to sell the company, that's another big variable. So what is your goal? Now let's go to the next conversation. And this is one that no one has. And this is my personal experience. I actually had a great lawyer, just business lawyer, who said, you have to trademark everything. Because I have these funny isms, right? My companies live out loud. I'm the millionaire maker. I say a man is not a plan. I say, get off your lazy assets. I say all sorts of funny things. So my lawyer at that time is like, oh my gosh, you have to trademark all these things. Well, and Live Out Loud was the big one because that was the name of my company and is the name of my core company because I think you should live out loud about money. So I trademarked I don't even know how many. I spent 6 figures on trademarks and service marks and registered marks and blah, 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 blah. So I got Live Out Loud Australia, Live Out Loud Africa, Live Out Loud UK, Live Out Loud Canada. I got all this, spent tons and tons and tons of money. Then every year, nobody told me this part, you got to keep those all up to date. And again, I'm not saying pros are like whether I would do it or not, or whether you should do it or not. I'm just telling you my part of how I did it. I spent a lot of money. Fast forward, I went into Africa, went to South Africa, was doing a huge tour through South Africa. I had owned the mark for a long time, but I'd never done business before. So also what no one told me, because again, the lawyer just wanted paid to do the marks. Didn't tell me how to use them effectively and how to put them into work. So here's the truth with worldwide marks. There's this thing called squatters' rights. So somebody came right beside me and got Live Out Loud Africa as well. So I own the mark, but they got the name and they got just a little side part of it that's a URL. But here's the difference. They started using Live Out Loud South Africa, Use Out Loud South Africa, and they started using it. Even though I own the mark, this is the critical part. And the part that's irritating is I get into the country and the day before I'm going to go on stage to speak to over 1,800 people, I get served a legal letter to cease and desist the use of my name of my own company. I'm like, are you kidding? I own the trademarks. I called my trademark lawyer from way back in the day. He's like, oh yeah, you should have got to do business right away because if you don't financially transact on the mark and somebody else uses something close or right on top of it, but they don't own the mark and you didn't stop them or you didn't financially transact, they're going to win. It's called squatters' rights. I'm like, you got to be kidding. Why didn't you tell me this? How many of you, comment right now, if you've had, you've done a transaction, a financial transaction, a legal transaction, something, and they didn't tell you the full story about it. So here I am in Africa, about to go on stage, literally have a court order to cease and desist. So I just called the guy who has my name. And of course he wanted money. He wanted to get paid. And I said, I have something better. You actually do something very different. He does this artistic photography thing and marketing. I said, what if I just market you to my database and we revenue share, and instead of fight, we collaborate. So we actually got to work that one out, and I got to be on stage, and but boy, was I irritated because I had spent all this money and I didn't know. And I dropped keeping up with that mark. I actually dropped spending money because every year you have to defend these marks. You have to re-register, you have to spend money. So I said, the heck with it, I'm kind of over it. So on the heels of that, I come home back to the United States, and guess who else is using Live Out Loud? Oprah. Fabulous. She's got this whole campaign of live out loud, be amazing, be emotional. So I'm going to go sue Oprah? Really? I mean, yes, I was making millions and millions of dollars, but not billions of dollars. And it's Oprah. Who do you think's going to win? Who's going to have the bigger guns in court? And just who has the influence? And if you don't all think that works not in your favor, it's just that all happens. That's a whole nother conversation we'll have on my channel a different day. So anyway, my lawyers called Oprah's lawyers and said, do you understand Loral owns the Live Out Loud trademark? You're right on top per mark. And so we actually collaborated and said, you know what? That's awesome. If you want to put search traffic against it, Oprah will keep using it. Her executive team will put Live Out Loud everywhere. And anybody searches for Live Out Loud, you take the search term to your website. So we made a deal. So I got really good at making deals to not have to end up in litigation and a lot of court. But I can tell you, I was on the other side of spending a lot of money, but nobody told me if somebody is on top of your mark, you better have not only the money, which I had the money, but is it really a good use of money to go to court and fight and fight and fight about your trademark or your patent or any of that? So really know the full scope of what you're going to do when you get into business and protect it appropriately is what I would tell you. There are places where absolutely you should do a mark. And then there's times where it makes no sense. So this is a really deeper conversation than just a quick YouTube video that's out here. It's really important that you do it. So before I do this last and amazing piece about how to not hire a lawyer, but do a lot of this yourself, I need you to subscribe to my channel. Every day I'm talking about a different financial or business topic, and the comments are critical. I have a huge engagement of you ask a question, make a comment, say, hey, I want to talk to your team, whatever you want, comment below, but you got to subscribe so we can stay in communication and stay connected, and I can make videos about your questions and answer whatever you need. Now let's get to the good part. I actually called my lawyer and I said, if somebody didn't want to hire you and they wanted to do some of this themselves, because you can do this yourself, what would you do? And here's exactly what he said. Here's a couple quick things to not have to hire me. Number one, Google the name to see what comes up. So that's the name of your business or product. See if the domain name is available and get it. And then the other thing I would tell you is get a lot around it. A lot of times, I have integrated wealth systems, right? Make your kids millionaires with an S. So get a variety of URLs is a huge advice to you because people will get names really close to what you're doing. And then you want to visit USPTO, right? Which is the trademark office.gov, G-O-V, right? So USPTO.gov. And do a quick search for yourself to make sure there's no other trademarks that are in the name and category. And then most states have databases of the companies and their names to search the databases so you can make sure that it's clean. Be careful of commas or periods. It'll give you a false sense of security. And believe me, if somebody does a LLC dot or L dot, L dot, L, that's all trademarkable. And if you really need to engage the lawyer, the place you engage the lawyer would be for what categories. So you just don't trademark broadly and say, oh, I own everything, right? When I did Live Out Loud, I had to trademark in the category of seminars, of events, online or offline, magazines, print, books. It's very specific, and every category costs you more money. That's the part probably to engage a lawyer, or at least I'll mentor you through it. I've been through this so many times. I'll tell you what categories work, don't work, which ones are just out there for more money, which ones are more general, and help you out. So always entity first, trademarks and marks and ownership of everything else behind the entity. And don't make the mistake if you're not willing to defend it. I just was blessed that I could negotiate a few of mine away, but that was rough. So I have so much to tell you, but we have to kind of wrap this up. So to end it, I want you to go see another video of mine on multiple streams of income, because that makes this whole trademark conversation a little more complicated, because you're gonna have more and more stuff. So I'm gonna have you click on the link below. It'll take you to that video, watch my multiple streams of income. Then let's have a bigger conversation about entities, trademarks, and multiple streams all at once. Have a great day.